Hi everyone, today I will swap the power supply and add some electronic spray cooling fans on the Sovol SV08. I'm Andy and welcome to ATL. I flipped the print on its side and removed the electronics cover, and today we will swap the small power supply for a bigger one with an active cooling fan. And also I noticed that the Mosfet that is for controlling the power to the heating bed got really warm. We will add a fan here and also a bigger fan right here over the control board, because the small one does its job, but it still gets quite hot in there. We will take a look at the printed parts right now and on the power supply and the fans that I will use. This right here are the 3D printed parts. These two parts are from the community I found on Printables, but this part I modified slightly a bit because the original design has 4 legs, so here is a 4th one. But my screw hole on the printer stripped out, so I thought I just remove it because I can't screw it down anyways. This one here I designed myself. This is just simple mount for the fan over the Mosfet, and this one is for the power supply. So first the bracket gets put in with these 3 screws from the printer, and here you use 2 M4x10 screws with some T-nuts. After that the bracket is in, you put the power supply on it. On the 2 brackets for the fans we have 80 by 10 mm fans, and when you mount the fans, make sure that the sticker is facing down on both parts. So this means that air gets sucked in from this side and pushed down on the side with the sticker. I mounted them with just some self-tapping generic fan screws. The cables from the original fans are long enough, so we don't need to snip them and solder or crimp extra wires on it. This is all the hardware we'll use today. This is an Meanwell LRS 350 24 volts power supply. This is very overkill, but I'm playing with the idea of modifying the printer to use tool heads, so then there will be enough power. I mainly chose this power supply because Meanwell is a very known brand that builds good power supplies, and it has an active cooling fan, because the stock one is only passively cooled, and I noticed that it gets really hot on long prints. Sadly, the stock wires from the inlet to the power supply and the Mosfet are not long enough, so we need to crimp on some longer wires. For that I have here some black and red wire. The gauge I don't know really, and also a yellow one for the earth connection. For that you need some cable strippers to make your life easier, and also some cable crimpers to get the connector on. And for that I just bought this 160 pieces crimp connector set, and we will use the blue one here with spade, I think. And also you will need some cutter. I used the filament cutter because there are some plastic parts from the stock bay we need to remove, and of course you need Allen keys M3 and M4. Now let's head to the printer and take on these modifications. So here's the problem with the stock wires. As you can see, yellow, black and red goes here to the Mosfet, and the new power supply will be right here, and the connectors are down here. So these cables or these wires are not long enough, and for that I will take them out, snip them here on the connector, strip this cable and add a new connector with a longer cable that goes in this direction. Make sure the printer is turned off, and if you don't know what you're doing, please seek help from a professional, because this is main wire, and if you don't know what you're doing, this could kill you. So I crimped on longer cables and put them back on the Mosfet here, so the black, red and yellow one. And now I'll put out the power supply, just remove these 2 wires that are left and loosen the screws. After that I will mount the bracket and show you how to fit the power supply in. Okay, the power supply is out, and now we need to remove these 2 mounts here, so this one and this one, because with them our bracket won't fit. I just snipped them off with the filament cutter and yeah, let's see how that works. The two tabs are removed, and as you could see in the time lapse, it was not that easy to remove them with just a small cutter here. So if you do this, maybe get some different tool to do the job. Now for the bracket, I already put in the two screws with the T-nut. I mentioned it before wrong. These are M3 by 6mm bolts, not screws. These get put in here in the T-slot, and for the 3 open holes here we use the screws from that we took out beforehand here, the self-tapping screws. Everything fits really well and is nice and sturdy. Next we'll put in the power supply and use now some 4x10 bolts to fix the power supply in. The new power supply is in, everything fits really nice. It wasn't that hard or too much of a hassle. The bolts on this side you can get in really easy, and on this side it's a little bit fiddly because of the wires that are dangling around here. Next I will connect them up with the mains wire and the connectors for the control board, and after that we will begin with the fans. Everything is wired back as it should be, and now I will add the fan for the Mosfet. If you mount the fan for the Mosfet bracket, make sure the cable routes to the upper right, because otherwise it will be too short, and if it's on the top right it is long enough to plug it in on the control board. Just some 4x8mm screws and some T-nuts, and we will also put it here in the extrusion and screw it down. The fan is in, it worked really nice, and as you can see I routed the cable under the expansion cables and under the cables from the stepper motor, so you can plug it in right here. This fan later needs to be configured in the printer.cfg file in Clipper, and this is the pin you will need to configure. You can see it right here on the screen, and I will put a basic configuration down in the video description. Next we will add the fan over the control board. This gets fitted right here, and I put some heatsinks on my stepper motors because they get really hot, and for that the part does not fit quite, and for that I will cut a piece out of here. And for this leg here you will need a T-nut, and the other two, this one too, you need a T-nut too, and this one here gets put back in with the tab screw. And as mentioned before, this one here is stripped on my printer, so I removed this leg. As I tried to snip off a piece of the corner from the bracket here, the part ripped off, so I will just fit it in place with these two mounting screws here, and I will print a new one and get rid of this corner here right away and swap it in the future. As you can see here, it is a little bit too tight with the cables, so I will cut open the zip ties and give them cables a little bit more slack. Before you mount it, make sure you connect the fan, otherwise it is really hard to get in there. Maybe it's possible if you have small fingers, but just connect the fan on the last 3 port here and then mount the bracket to the frame. The fan is in. Here I used the M3 by 10mm bolt. You could also use a M4 by 10. It fits both. Just make sure to use the right T-nut. And here the self-tapping screw from the panel before. Yeah, it is a little bit lift. Okay, I broke the second part. Now I need to definitely reprint it and put on both parts here. I need to mention all parts are printed in ABS, so that is not the best layer adhesion. You can print it in PETG, and that's the minimum material you should print it in. So I will now just fix this in place and print a new bracket and put it on. Okay, I fixed it in place quick and dirty with a zip tie. It's not the most elegant solution, but it will work. And yeah, I need to print a new one. That's it for the modification of the printer. Check the description down below for the configuration for this new fan. That's all you have to do. If you liked the video and found it helpful, make sure to leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.